Hello, welcome back to JJ's Bakehouse. I'm Jenny. Today I'm going to be making a Swiss meringue buttercream with chocolate. So a really lovely chocolatey Swiss meringue. So I'm going to start, as I always do, my way of doing Swiss meringue. Sorry if you hear a hissing, I've got my water on here. Let me just turn it down, ready for my bain-marie. So my way is I whip up the butter first, and that way then the temperatures are the same when you pop them in and they don't separate, and also it's silkier, smoother and so much easier to incorporate. So I'm going to put in my butter. So I've got softened, unsalted butter there. I've got 400 grams and that's going in. And we're going to beat that until it's really light and fluffy. Now in the cold weather, my room temperature butter is not performing well at all. It's almost like it's been in the fridge. So if you have that issue, I've been putting my stand mixer bowl into the oven just for a couple of minutes and then put the butter in, and it seems to manage to soften it all up a little bit. So we're going to turn this on. Bring it up to a medium to high speed and let it do its thing just for around about 5 minutes until it's really light and fluffy. Now I've got a creaming paddle, which I think is so important when you're doing buttercream. If you don't have one of those, don't forget to keep stopping and scraping the sides of the bowl down, because otherwise it will get stuck to the side, and it might take you that little bit longer than the 5 minutes it's going to take me. It could take you anything up to about 10 minutes, but just make sure that you keep scraping that bowl round and we will get there. So I'm going to see you in about 5 minutes. So my butter is so light and fluffy, exactly the way I want it to be. I've taken it out, put it into a separate bowl there so that I could clean down my mixer, because I'm going to need it again in a moment. So first of all, the first thing we're going to do, all the utensils that we need to use, we're just going to squirt in some lemon juice, because that's going to cut through any of the grease. And grease and meringues don't work together. So this will just cut any of that away. There we go. So just give everything that we're going to use there a wipe over. And we should be good then. So I can set that aside now for when we finished. So I've got my water in the saucepan here. Got half an inch of water, and that's just been simmering away. So I'm going to put my metal bowl on the top. I've now got 300 grams of caster sugar, so I'm going to put that in, and I've also got 4 egg whites. So we're going to pop those both in there, give them a stir up. Now make sure you've got a tea towel with you if the bowl gets too hot. I'm going to turn my temperature on this up slightly and just mix it all up there so that it forms like a paste almost. I'm going to move my butter away, I don't want it to get warm. Okay, I've got a thermometer here as well. Now you can do Swiss meringue in a couple of different ways. You can know when it's done by touch. Obviously, if you were to take this now between your fingers, all you're going to feel is grit because the sugar hasn't dissolved. And that is a guide of when it's ready. Now I prefer to make sure that mine has come to a temperature that I feel the egg whites have been cooked and they're safe. So for me, I make sure that mine come up to about 73 degrees Celsius, and that way then I'm happy enough that they've been cooked to a high enough temperature that they are safe. So this is going to take a while. As we're stirring it round, it does get frothier and frothier, but it is going to take a little bit. Excuse me. Don't make sure that this is stirred all the time, because you don't want egg whites getting stuck at the bottom. Make sure it is on the stove. So the temperature of mine at the moment is 32. So it's come to 32, but this is going to take a little bit of time. So I will come back to you when it comes up to around about 60. I'm just going to keep stirring. Right, okay, this is starting to go really foamy on the top. What temperature am I at? 60. Oh, I'm flying up now. Oh, excuse me 1 second. Right, so I am on 73, so I'm just going to immediately lift that off, obviously using a tea towel if yours is hot, mine's not, and take that there. I'm just going to stir this for a second, just to make sure before I do anything else that it's not cooking anymore, getting some air into it. Right, now take our bowl that we had earlier and put it straight into the mixing bowl, and that's going to cool it down straight away already because this is cold. There you go, don't want to waste any. There we go. And then to that I'm going to add some, what am I going to add? I've lost my brain. Cream of tartar. So I'm going to add some cream of tartar to that. So bear with me, I get all that and I'll be straight back to you. Right, so now I'm sat back where I should be, and I have got the mixing paddle on there. So that's the whisk, and I'm going to add a teaspoon of cream of tartar to this, and that just helps stiffen the meringue up. Now you can use lemon juice, but I use cream of tartar. Now with meringue, we're going to start this off on a low speed. So there we go. It doesn't like to be whipped really, really ferociously, really quickly. So we get the steam coming off of that there. So we are going to just let that for a minute or two, just on a slow speed, and we're going to very slowly increase the speed there, so I'm not shocking it up until I get it up to that highest speed. So that's been going there for nearly a minute or so. So I am just going to give it one more. There we go. And that one is quite quick, so I'm not going to take it any higher. So leave me for 2 minutes and I'll be back to you when we're going to turn it up a little bit higher. Right, let's turn it up. Now I'm going to turn it up now to my highest speed. It's already looking really lovely in there. And while this is going, I'm going to go and melt 50 grams of milk chocolate and 2 tablespoons of cocoa powder, and I'm going to go and melt those together so it's ready for the next part. Right, we're there. Now, you can do your upside down test. Don't need to, because as you can see, look, nothing's coming off that. I will show you what mine looks like. So there we go. Right, now, normally, let's just feel the temperature of the outside of our bowls, because we have got this lovely butter, and if you add your butter to this hot meringue, that's just going to melt and it's just not gonna be nice and you're gonna get some curdling. So I'm going to just leave this alone for a minute, leave it 5 minutes. You can sit it in cold water if you wanted to, the bowl, but it's nearly there. I can feel a temperature on it and I don't really want to play with it like that. So I'm just going to go off, do some washing up, and I'll be back to you in 5 minutes when this is cooled, and then we're going to add the butter. And this is so simple now. Instead of adding blocks where it can curdle and it's hard and the meringue really struggles because you're adding something hard and fatty to it, we've got this silky smooth butter that we're going to add, which is just going to incorporate so easily. And then I've also got my chocolate, which is cooling. So as I said, that was 50 grams of milk chocolate I used, and 2 tablespoons of cocoa, and that's got a really intense chocolate smell to it, and it's quite thick. And I've done that because when you add chocolate to Swiss meringue buttercream, obviously it's liquidy and it's melted, and it can make the buttercream quite unstable and floppy. So this way we've used melted chocolate, but we haven't had to use so much that we're going to make this a sloppy mess. By putting in the cocoa powder and melting those together, there's a really intense chocolate flavour in there and smell. So that's the way we're going to get around it. And I've not added cocoa powder directly to this because I don't want anything powdery, and I want to have control over everything that I put into here. So that's why I melted the two together. So this needs to cool as well. So I'm going to leave everything to cool and do the horrible job of washing up, and I'll be straight back to you. So give me 5 minutes. Right, we're there. I'm washed up and we are ready. So just going to keep giving this chocolate a stir because I don't want it to set. So there we go. Right, now we're going to add this butter. So with regular butter, Swiss meringue, you'd be adding cubes by cubes. I'm confident you can take this amount and we're going to put that in and just give this medium speed a stir around. This doesn't take long at all. No, I wouldn't make Swiss meringue any other way. I've done it with the cubed butter and it was just so complicated. Well, it wasn't complicated. It's just not as easy as this way, and I much prefer this. I get proper results every single time. No separating, no soupiness. Right, I'm ready for the next amount. In it goes. It's looking really lovely in there. Obviously, as usual with Swiss meringue, you're going to get to a point where it looks like it's curdled and you start to panic and you think, oh my god, but that is exactly then when it turns from this almost silky wetters mix into actual buttercream. So when you see that happen, don't panic. Right, you'll probably do it on this one now. Hang on. Oh, let's get that in. Okay, so at the moment, so you can see it's a little bit wet, and that is absolutely fine. That's exactly the way we want it. Right, and now that curdle is starting to occur, and that used to frighten me. Now I know I'm nearly there, so I'm happy with that. And when I say that curdle, see that there? This is, it kind of goes a bit gloopy. It looks like it's all coming, it's clumping together, but it's not. So I'm actually going to put the last bit of my butter in here. Brilliant. And give all this a scrape down. Look how easy this is with pulling off my... Hang on, I'm pulling. There we go. Lock that in. Right. So much easier. So now let's let this go around for its last time. And I'm just going to grab some vanilla. I'll be straight back to you. Okay, so I'm going to add a teaspoon of vanilla to that because I really like vanilla. It brings out the chocolate. And give this a scrape. Here we go. So we have complete butter cream there. Absolutely brilliant with that. Now this is your choice. I like to change mine now to my... Oh, can I do that? Yeah. I like to change this now to my cream and paddle. You can keep the whisk on. I don't know why I do it. It's just something I've always done. And I seem to prefer it. So you can change across to your cream and paddle. I think it's because it gets all the sides and everything with my cream and paddle, and that's why I prefer it. So I'm just going to pop that on, and then we're going to mix all the rest together. Right, I've got my cream and paddle. Pop now I'm going to add that chocolate. Now obviously depending on how strong you want your chocolate to be, if you want it to be even stronger than what this is, just add some more cocoa powder. Don't add more chocolate. Just add more cocoa powder. Obviously it's going to get stiffer when you're melting it, but that's how you're going to get more of a punching chocolate flavour, but this should be absolutely fine. Right, let's mix this up. There we are. So we're nearly done. I have made some caramel cupcakes today, so I'm going to use these. This recipe is on my channel, so I'm going to use these caramel cupcakes that I've made here and top those with this Swiss meringue buttercream so that you can see exactly what it looks like. So as soon as this has finished, at the minute it looks like mousse, just silky smooth mousse. So let me show you. There we go. Lovely and mousse-like. So I'm going to just pop that into a bowl. I always give it about 15-20 minutes just to settle after I have mixed everything in and done everything that I've wanted to do with it. So I'm finished now, into a bowl. Let it settle for about 15-20 minutes, and you can pop that in the fridge if you want to, but obviously if you pop it in the fridge for too long, you can put it in for about 10 minutes, but if you pop it in for too long, you are just going to have to start the process again because it's going to get too hard. So I'm just going to leave mine over on the side for about 20 minutes, and then we'll pipe these up so you can see exactly how it comes out. See you in a minute.